The year 1970 marked a time of political and economic transformation in the Philippines. Under the administration of President Ferdinand Marcos, the country was going through social unrest and significant monetary reform. Amid these changes, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas (BSP) continued its efforts to modernize the currency system to reflect national identity. The 197010 Sentimo belongs to what is known as the Second Republic coinage or Filipino Series. Introduced in 1967, this was the first coinage to feature inscriptions in the Filipino language instead of English, a symbolic shift that aligned with the rise of nationalism and cultural pride in the post-independence era. Prior to 1967, Philippine coins bore English legends like Economic Public of the Philippines, but starting in 1967, coins began bearing Republica ng Pilipinas, emphasizing Filipino linguistic and cultural heritage. The 197010 Sentimo followed this format. The obverse of the 1970-10 Sentimo features the portrait of Francisco Baltazar, more commonly known as Francisco Balagtas, a revered Filipino poet and literary figure. Balagtas is often referred to as the Shakespeare of the Philippines for his masterpiece, Florondia at Laura. His inclusion symbolizes the value of literature and cultural development in Philippine society. The coat of arms of the Philippines, prominently displaying symbols of independence and nationhood. The inscription Republica ng Pilipinas, the year 1970 at the bottom, signifying the mint year, the American eagle and the Lion of Castile and Leon, symbolizing the country's historical ties with the US and Spain. The switch from silver to base metals like brass was part of a global trend in the mid-20th century to reduce coin production costs. The 1970 10 Sentimo coin was mass-produced for general circulation. It was widely used in the Philippines during the 1970s, when prices for small goods like candies, newspapers, and jeepney fares still involved centavo denominations. The coin became a staple in the everyday lives of Filipinos. The 10 Sentimo 1970 was part of a larger set that included 1, 5, 10, 25, and 50 Sentimo denominations and 1 peso. All featured Filipino heroes, making it an educational tool for promoting national awareness and pride. It also reinforced the use of Filipino as the national language. As of today, the 1970 10 Sentimo coin is not considered extremely rare, but well-preserved uncirculated or proof coins can have modest value among collectors. A coin. Some errors known in this series include off-center strikes and die cracks, which can significantly increase the value. Though small in value, the 10 Sentimo coin from 1970 represents an important period in Philippine history, a time of cultural awakening, identity assertion, and economic reform. Its circulation paralleled key events such as the Constitutional Convention of 1971 and the political tensions leading up to martial law. The 1970 Philippine 10 Sentimo coin, after gaining independence from the United States on July 4, 1946, the Philippines began developing its own distinct monetary system. The earliest coins post-independence still reflected American influence, but by the 1960s, a shift began, a deliberate move toward asserting national identity. The Pilipino Series, to which the 1970 10 Sentimo belongs, was the first full coin series to use the Filipino language and feature Filipino historical figures. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Philippine economy was still largely cash-based and reliant on coins for everyday transactions. Coins like the 10 Sentimo were essential for public transportation fares. Jeepney and bus fare often cost just a few centavos. Street food and sari-sari store purchases. School allowances for children, traditional markets and vendors. Thus, the 10 Sentimo was not only symbolic, but practically necessary for daily life. The choice of Francisco Baltazar on the 10 Sentimo was highly symbolic. He was not a political leader or a war hero, but a poet and intellectual, and advocate for justice and social critique during the Spanish colonial period. His epic, Florondia at Laura, written in a wit-form Filipino verse, used allegory to comment on tyranny, freedom, and love for country. Elevated the importance of Filipino literature, represented resistance through education and art, connected coinage with cultural nationalism. The Philippine economy in 1970 was under pressure from inflation and currency devaluation. That same year, the peso was allowed to float, leading to a sharp drop in value against the US dollar. This economic turbulence increased the cost of imported goods, affected the production cost of coins, accelerated the phase-out of precious metals, such as silver from coinage. As a result, brass and copper alloys became the material of choice, affordable, durable, and easier to mint in large quantities. In February 1970, the Philippine government floated the peso for the first time, allowing its value to be determined by the foreign exchange market. This caused financial panic and social unrest, leading to what was known as the First Quarter Storm, a series of student-led protests and strikes against government policies. During this time, coin hoarding became common as people feared further devaluation. The BSP accelerated minting of small denomination coins to ensure liquidity. Counterfeiting also increased due to weak security features on low-value coins. Most of the 1970 10 Sentimo coins were minted at the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas security plant complex in Quezon City. Coins like the 10 Sentimo were often passed from parent to child, used in schools, and carried in small coin purses. They became part of family history. The 10 Sentimo coin remained in circulation until the early 1990s. However, due to inflation and changing monetary policy, it was demonetized by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.